Hi, this is a video about what's been happening in the Kundalini Yoga scene in my life, and it's a brief summary because it's very deep. It could take hours to discuss this, and even then we would be still scraping the surface. So I just wanted to explain that really the yogic philosophy that I feel is really important to embrace for myself at least, and is that yoga is within, and it's your inner guru. That's the number one thing. I have never heard of a guru out there that's a real guru, like really just an awakened being, say you need to follow me, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to worship me, you need to pay me money, you need to do something for so many seconds, you are not good enough, you will get nowhere if you're not with me, or it's a past life connection and you need to redeem yourself by following what I say or ignoring things or denying what actually feels really wrong and ignoring your own knowing. That is a severe corruption of anything yogic or guru-ish, and it's a very beautifully crafted, sick, I know beautiful and sick, but it seems to really work on people. So it's quite magnificent when you look at it as a creation, and the fact that everything is intelligence unfolding, everything is actually God's play. It's really quite ingenious. It's also insidious because it preys on people that want to look for guidance outside themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that, because inherently it means you're humble enough to say, hey, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but you seem to know what you're doing, so can you teach me? And then of course, you have to express humbleness usually by these gurus that are not always very good. Most of them are not, and so it goes. So inherently, please don't shame yourself if you have walked following the guru path, because from what I can see, it's got the polarity again. One is a humbleness and an admission that, I need to learn something and I want to grow, and clearly I'm not, so I want to find somebody that is able to guide me. And the other side is that the dark side of that is I don't think I'm good enough, and I need to go and find it externally. So there's a deep seated idea that we can find answers outside ourselves, and that we're not good enough as we are. And that becomes that searching quest thing, which is nice as long as it balances out afterwards again. So as we think about our own spiritual growth, it's come to this time on the planet to really own it and to really learn from the outside, but to actually question it within first, and to have it go past the gateway of your own consciousness, your own heart, your own intuition, whatever it is that you feel that you can trust. And first of all, to build that trust as well. There is no point in creating more trust in an external concept than to go within. It's just going within is the ultimate thing. Now, I know these are easy words and a lot of people mention it, but it's really come up big time with Yogi Bhajan's scandal and the fact that there's so much evidence. There is an insane amount of evidence. I've done that research. In fact, I really went into it the last few weeks, and it was quite traumatizing after a while. At first, it was okay, but when I heard about the children involved and the abuse, I really felt sick. I really had to stop, because that's, to me, absolutely the worst thing anyone could do, sexualizing children, anything like that, let alone abusing women that are, obviously trying to learn something when you're in a kind of higher position of power. The organization is flawed in many ways. Of course, they've done good things. Of course, they have an image, and of course, they have invested money into themselves and into the organization. And of course, there has been some good things because there are good people in the organization as well. So let's never just be black and white. It doesn't work that way. It's not all evil. It's not all good. It's about seeing what is. Just like when it rains, for example, like it could rain any minute. There'll be some drops. There might be more, there might be less. But it's us if we go, oh no, it shouldn't rain, or oh no, I wish the sun was out, and we create that judgment, that's when we start to skid it's really about accepting reality and being grounded enough to be able to see, hey, it's raining, I need to leave, or hey, I'm enjoying it, whichever way it is, and hey, I don't feel right about the way this person is treating people. Hey, my intuition is telling me this so-called guru doesn't resonate, and he hasn't resonated with a lot of people. And then there's others that just follow and they believe it's their path to completely let go of any sense of self, any sense of questioning, any sense of even grounded obviousness in terms of just common sense or questioning something, because it's been so imprinted that you can't question things, and if you do, you get shamed. So it's an incredible awakening. Anything that happens, in my opinion, is an opportunity to reflect and to see what can we do with this situation, how can we grow from it. So in the case of Yogi Bhajan, and by the way, there are so many other people like that in power that are abusive, including some of his current people, females even, shockingly enough. And there are people that don't want to discuss it. And the argument is we need to stay calm, we need to wait for the evidence, we need to just stay in the neutral mind. Now, things like that have always bugged me a lot over the many, many years that I have been in a spiritual environment, studying and reflecting. Using spiritual concepts to manipulate and control is extraordinary. My daughter is just coming back and getting a lift right now in the middle of my YouTube. Anyway, so the idea that people use spiritual truths to actually manipulate is really what bugs me. And that is why a lot of the yogi masters have not wanted to talk to their public demand, because I understood that people would potentially misunderstand. I'm just gonna pause this. So my daughter is back and I paused the recording. That's life. We make decisions like that all the time, right? So we need to learn to trust ourselves. There are people that are in total denial and there's so much evidence. And one of the big things that really bugs me, like I said, is the spiritual twisting of truths. And the other thing that has to stop, and we all know it, everyone, is that we need to stop feeling we can't express how we feel and discuss and ask questions and really inevitably expose things. This is what these people rely on. They try to shut you down and they'll do it in a spiritual way, which is amazing. So if it was a rough way, they would say, don't talk or else. And they've done this. This particular organization with Yogi Bhajan, they have sent lawyers after people, even current people that are really big. I really want to name things, but there's some really big woman. There's very high profile, woo ha ha. Comes across to me as severely egoic, by the way, and many people are waking up to that. They have threatened people with lawsuits and lawyers are hunting around, so to make sure people don't talk or say this or that, because there's a lot of investment in ego, being like a guru, a lot of investment in money, a lot of investment in identity, and a lot of probably even altruism, hoping this will make a difference, mixed in and blended into the mix, because nothing is ever 100% kind or beautiful unless someone or evil, unless somebody is super conscious, and there are just so many layers to our consciousness. So what I've done is I've already been teaching differently. I've been honoring the things that feel true, and in my latest new classes it's totally different. I am basically a woman's coach that is teaching breathwork and chakra balance using my other previous yogic knowledge and the aspects that are universally taught by other yogis, because I have researched this stuff since I'm in my 20s. And that's very easy for me to do, because obviously Yogi Bhajan himself took things from older traditions, and that's the stuff I can teach without involving him. I mean, I've eradicated straight away since 2 weeks. The things that he's created, like the tuning in, has changed already. And also we have discussed it in terms of letting ourselves grow and be empowered and learn from this, because this situation is symbolic of, in general, what women do and what people do in terms of giving our power away. Why do we do it? We need to ask ourselves this question very gently and start to write down, why did I give my power away? Why did I ignore my actual red flags? So many people are coming up with hurtful stories where they ignored themselves because they were told, oh, that's nonsense, or you're overreacting, or gee, you better not, and or no one's gonna believe you, or you're gonna basically lose a circle of friends that's linked with this belief system and this so-called community, which is really community cult, very different, yes, and sometimes very blurry lines. So with the coronavirus blending in, it's just such a big opportunity to reflect and go within, as we are being advised to stick to ourselves more, not to circulate as much. So I'm using that as well as a great way to reflect deeper and to actually enjoy the simplicity, to actually enjoy the vibrational shift amongst people. I know a lot of people are in fear, but I also know a lot of people have learned that fear doesn't really serve. It's got its place, but to keep it switched on and be in a permanent state of fear and to react to everything to fear is just unhealthy. And I think this is really a great opportunity to grow very, very deeply and become conscious of how we can elevate through any situation. So I'm teaching women's yoga still. I'm totally reinventing myself 100% ever since I found that out. That was so natural because I was already heading in that direction. I had to process this, but for me it was absolutely no-brainer. What he did, even if 50% of what's been discussed is true, is beyond disgusting, and I wouldn't want anything to do with that. Nothing, zero. Like, I'd rather be linked to a grasshopper or the postie or the flower girl or the bird on the roof. Seriously. Now, I don't know, there's a very loud neighbor. So, of course it happens when you do a YouTube. So I just wanted to say, trust yourself. I'm going to make more YouTubes, shorter ones and more themed ones. And with the Kundalini is not owned by Yogi Bhajan. The Kundalini is very ancient. I've got great YouTubes which I will put in my links, and I will give you suggestions and tools that you can use to also research it more if you're interested, or ask me questions about it as well. It really comes back down to the rishis, ancient yogis, and people of this current generation and previous generations have polluted it, misinterpreted it, used it to control, or initially had a good impact and a good intent, but couldn't cope with the worship and couldn't cope with the energy that was surging and all the things that were happening. So it's very multifaceted. Let's look at the bright side. Let's look at what we can do with it. The breath and yoga is all yours, and all the benefits you've had have been yours. I want to highlight that because many people say, without Kundalini, my life wouldn't be like this, without this. It's not that. It's you getting on the mat. It's you feeling safe in an environment to breathe and to connect with yourself, because you're living in a most incredible body temple, and this body temple is here to serve you and to give you great experiences of polarity and physical experiences and emotions. And it is really a gift, and it's time to acknowledge that. It's time to honor that with healthy food, with wondering about our intake of what kind of thoughts we want to intake, not just the food, but also the company and what channels we tune into. So it's beautiful, and I'm here for that. I'm coaching women. I am doing part-time coaching at home, one-on-one. I'm doing coaching within my yoga class, really educating women on a deep level to have absolute faith and trust in themselves, and how to delete any programs, how to choose to think differently, how to wire that the other way so it actually works in your advantage. This is all yogic knowledge. This is NLP and hypno knowledge, and it is also common sense when we really rise above it and become the observer. So this is another opportunity to become an observer and to just notice what's happening with your emotions, and to notice how they affect you and how you can honor yourself more. So I'm gonna make a YouTube on that, how you can honor yourself more. See the cars passing, the neighbors coming, daughter coming from school, all at the same time. This street was quiet all day. Anyway, have a lovely, lovely moment. I'll be in touch. Ask lots of questions. Tell me how you felt. I would love to hear from you.